The realm of Asgard is widely regarded as one of the most powerful organizations in the Marvel Universe, with the Asgardian people offering protection and security to the rest of the 9 realms for millennia on end. All-Father Odin and the kings of Asgard that came before him are commonly cited as some of the most powerful beings in the MCU, and until his eventual demise in Ragnarok, the power of the Odin Force has given way to a lineage of incredibly powerful rulers. In Ragnarok, the power of the Odin Force was passed on to his son Thor, and will, for the time being, only tell how much power the God of Thunder will collect in the coming years. One peculiar detail about Asgard itself, however, is that it is not necessarily a planet, as it appears vastly different from normal planets that we've seen in the MCU. It seems to be a flat plain with just a single city constructed on top of it, making it one of the most unique formations in the modern Marvel universe. This one lone ring seems to make up the entirety of the realm known as Asgard, and its peculiar deformity has led many to wonder what exactly caused it to come to shape in such an odd way. So stick with us today, watchers of the Marvel Multiverse, and let's explore the popular fan theory that not only was Asgard originally a fully formed planet, but that it was destroyed by a celestial emergence, but address the possibility that it was directly caused by Odin himself, as well as delve into the story of how it ultimately may have survived. The Eternals film not only showed exactly what an emergence was and what it looked like, but it showcased that the process of a celestial emergence can be predicted well in advance. The disturbances beneath the surface of the planet can create violent earthquakes and subsequent flooding, as well as other highly noticeable physical abnormalities. And
it is a side effect of the emergence.
And these signs can appear anywhere from several days before the actual arrival of the burgeoning Celestial to presumably even longer. The Celestial emergence that was scheduled to destroy the Earth was noticed by the Eternals a full week before it was set to take place, and the inhabitants of Earth perceived it as a massive earthquake that they did not fully understand the source of, leaving the Eternals to embark on their quest. If this was detected by the previous ruling class who was more well informed, be it Odin in his youth, his father Bor, or one of the many kings before him, then according to this theory, the king may have taken certain steps in saving a precious sliver of their beloved homeworld using one of the most valued treasures in the 9 realms, one of the Infinity Stones, the Tesseract. Thanks to Infinity War, we were able to get an up-close look at the capabilities of the Space Stone, which includes collapsing space around any given object in order to catch it in mid-air and hold it in place. We see Thanos catch and divert different attacks, as well as crush the War Machine armor with the Space Stone, showing that it's not only just capable of tearing holes in the fabric of space and allowing individuals to teleport light years across the galaxy, but is capable of much more. With that being said, it is theoretically possible that a generation of Asgardians who predated Thor in the modern MCU was able to use the Tesseract in a very similar manner, and use it on their very planet, preserving one lone city as the planet around it was destroyed by the Emergence. Given the logic of Asgardian technology and the precedent of using the Tesseract for scientific advancement, it seems to make sense. The MCU has shown that the Infinity Stones are able to transfer energy with relative permanence, and while perhaps the most notable example of this is Wanda Maximoff having her powers triggered by the Mind Stone, it is presumed that this simply awakened her latent abilities that were already there. Luckily for us, however, we know that the Space Stone can do the same thing, and we've seen this very thing happen on multiple occasions. We know that the Tesseract was used to repair the Bifrost after Thor destroyed it in his first solo film, and some have even speculated that the cube was used to construct the original iteration of the Bifrost Bridge. We also know that the stone was able to imbue Carol Danvers with her unique powers, and her separation from the stone and its subsequent destruction did nothing to hinder her power set, showing that the energy of the Space Stone and even other Infinity Stones can be transferred into other objects, both living and inanimate. This also shows that the energy transfer is relatively permanent, and it makes sense that an artifact of nigh unlimited energy is able to channel enough energy into Asgard that it would help to keep it together for thousands of years, thus leading to a prosperous society of kings and gods who would go on to use their power in order to protect the remainder of the 9 realms. While we do not know for sure who the ruling king was, it's quite likely that it may have been Odin himself, and we can even theorize as to the exact time in Odin's life when this may have happened. In Ragnarok, we come to find out that he and Hela led an era of conquest that ravaged the surrounding galaxy, as they pillaged and conquered any territory that they could find.
One by one, the realms became ours.
As the Asgardian Empire grew, more people were brought into the realm, both in terms of their civilian population and their armies, and we know that Asgard was in its absolute prime while Hela and Odin fought side by side. Given that Asgard is already a prosperous city that is heavily populated, and Hela's backstory tells us that it used to be much larger, both in terms of their army as well as their population, we are left to wonder just how many people would have been able to fit on this one lone island. After all, the army of Asgard as we see it is already formidable, but to conquer all 9 realms and maintain their hold, it would likely have to be much larger in order to truly exert their dominance over their corner of the galaxy. If, however, the realm of Asgard used to be a full planet, then the population that Odin and Hela amassed might have helped to nourish the growing celestial with the life force energy that would ultimately cause it to hatch. If this fed into the population of the planet that used to house the palace of Asgard, then Odin's conquest may have directly led to the downfall of the planet, and his rapid population growth might be the reason that Asgard spent the duration of its latter days as a floating island. The important part of this to note, however, is that Hela does not seem to be surprised by Asgard's formation, meaning one of 3 things. Option 1 is that her shock and awe was shown off screen as she enters via the Bifrost and might not have immediately noticed the abnormal formation. Option 2, which I agree with, is that she was present for Asgard's destruction and was banished away after she continued to seek conquest even after their era of destruction, and after it almost cost them their lives and the lives of their people. If this is the case, then it might show her blatant, cold-hearted disregard for the lives of her people, and may fade into Odin's decision to banish his daughter. Option 3 is that the destruction of Asgard did not take place under Odin's rule, and if the emergence theory is true, then it may have been a previous king that used the power of the Tesseract to preserve the main city of Asgard in a very similar way. This would mean that this is the only life that she, much like Thor and Loki, has ever known, and her lack of surprise makes complete sense. We also know that Asgardians are not entirely privy to their history, and it's not unreasonable to believe that Thor did not know of their entire past, only that the Tesseract was an incredibly powerful and important artifact that was passed down throughout the ages until Odin eventually hid it on Earth, out of reach of other Asgardians. Odin in the past concealed the truth of his first daughter from even his own children and his own people.
My firstborn.
And it wouldn't be at all surprising to learn that he either withheld this as well, or a former king did something very similar, and the story was lost throughout the long history of Asgard and the 9 realms, be it when Odin covered up his aspect of their lineage, or even beforehand. But anyway, my friends, what do you think of this theory? Do you think Asgard was destroyed by a celestial emergence? And if so, do you believe that it was ultimately saved by the Tesseract? Additionally, which king do you think saved the realm? Was it Odin, Bor, or someone else? As always, my friends, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys have other MCU theories that you would like to see explored, leave them in the comments down below. Hit that subscribe button to assemble and join our team, and I hope you have a great day.